Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Jessica McDonald. I design knitting patterns and I am coming to you from a tiny town in the mountains of Idaho. You can probably hear my 5-year-old son shouting just now. He's just a noisy person. He lives at full volume. Today is November the 18th, I think. The 19th. Today is Saturday, November 19th. It is 2:30 in the afternoon, which means the sun is going to be down in 2 hours. So fun. I hate this time of year. I hate that the sun is down early and it's up late. It's just miserable. I don't like it. Anyway, so I design knitting patterns. If you like all of my designs, such as the sweater I'm wearing, the best place for you to be is to sign up for my email newsletter. I send out a semi-regular newsletter. I am a work-at-home mom of 4 children, so it's really hard for me to stay super regular, but every once in a while you will get an email that is very valuable and educational. Like this summer I did a 4-part series on how to get your best fitting sweater and how to adjust sleeve length for a drop shoulder sweater and various things like that. The next one that I'm going to do is about color dominance, which I haven't had a chance to sit down and write. So the next one will be on color dominance. And then a couple weeks after I send them to my newsletter subscribers, I generally put them up on my blog. So if you want to read all of my past very informational writings, you can find them on my blog. There will be a link to my website in the description box below where you can go find my blog. You can also find all my patterns there, and you can also find all my patterns on Ravelry. Yes, so anyway, sign up for my newsletter. That is a long way to say just sign up for my newsletter. You also get a good discount when I release new patterns. So speaking of new patterns, this one is now available to you all. This one is in Forest. I don't have a copy of Forest handy. My book that I published this autumn, Forest, this is a design from it. If you would like the book, it's still available. They're watching a movie and my oldest daughter turned the volume way up high, so you can probably hear it in the background. Sorry. I'm a work-at-home mom of multiple young children, so this is how this works. My husband is not here today, so I can't just dump them all with him. Back to the sweater. This one is now available as an individual pattern both on my website and on Ravelry. It is called Snowy Pines. Here you can see, I'll turn into the light so hopefully you can see it nicely. Snowy Pines is a top-down, in the round, seamless colorwork sweater that has this beautiful motif that's inspired by pine trees in the snow. So here's the snow falling on these pine trees, and then this beautiful graphic motif here is to fill in the rest of the yoke, basically, but it looks really cool. I love it. It has short rows in the back, but they're put underneath here. If you are a usual watcher of my podcast, you may remember when I talked at length about moving the short rows down here instead of putting them up here. But anyway, yes, this sweater pattern is now available. There is a discount code. It is COZY, one word, COZY, all caps. It will be in the description box below, so you don't have to remember this. And that will get you 15% off through the 25th, November 25th, 2022, if you're watching this way in the future. I am planning to edit this video tonight and hopefully upload it overnight so that you can start watching it tomorrow and have a few days of the discount period to enjoy that code. If you do sign up for my newsletter, you get a better discount, and also you get emailed when new patterns come out. So you should sign up for my newsletter. So here's Snowy Pines. Go run and get a copy. Now, let me show you my knitting that I have to show you. First of all, I have 2 finished objects. One is missing a pom-pom, but we're going to call it a finished object anyway. We'll start with this one. this sweater. This one I'm calling My Fletching. So fletching, hang on just a second. This is fletching. It is one of my most popular children's patterns. This is, I think, the 12-month size knit in Barrett Wool Co Woolens, which is their sport weight yarn. But this is one of my most popular baby patterns. It's really, really simple color work, and it has a really kind of Nordic feel to it, I think. It wouldn't be out of place on a Danish baby. So this one is one of my most popular children's patterns. It's from 3 months all the way up to 12 years, I think. Yeah, it's 3 months to 12 years, and you work more of these bands of color work for the larger sizes. So this is, I think, the 12-month size, or it might be the 18-month size. I can't remember what size I made. I made this like 2 years ago, so you'll have to forgive me for not remembering. So this is fletching, and lots of people have asked me for an adult version of it. So I've finally done it, and I'm calling it My Fletching. Big Fletching just didn't like it that much. So I'm calling it My Fletching. So here it is. Last time I filmed an actual podcast that I had, I think I had one sleeve done, or maybe I needed to do both sleeves. But I was really working really hard to finish it so that we could take the pictures before all of the leaves fell off the trees at peak fall color is when I wanted to take the pictures, because this is very much so fall leaf color, gold up here. So I finished it just in time to take pictures before all of the leaves fell off the trees. This is also knit in Barrett Wool Co Woolens. The colors, the main color is Thimble. It is a heathered gray, but it's not super duper gray. It's kind of oatmeal-y gray. I'm sorry about the loud movie. And then the contrast color is called Old Fashioned. And it's just a really pretty golden color. Oop, you can't see it in the sun. There we go. It's a really pretty autumnal color. They're watching Space Buddies. Apparently it's a more action-packed movie than I thought. Anyway, so here is My Fletching. It has 4 bands of the color work, because as you make the yoke deeper, you can add more of it, so I've added more of it. The larger sizes have 5 bands, so the goal basically is just to fill up the whole yoke with bands of color work, and they switch direction. So you can see they switch direction and they alternate. It's a very, very simple color work pattern to work. It's a 2-stitch repeat that you just shift a little, not a 2-stitch repeat, sorry. A 4-stitch repeat that you just shift over a little bit. So 2 main color, 2 contrast color, repeated around the sweater. So it's really, really simple. This is going to be a fantastic one for people who want a really easy color work sweater. Maybe you've never knit color work before. Maybe you just want something really relaxing. This one will be perfect for you. So you can see here, I've got this little, try not to get in the sun too much, this little knot of contrast color here. The same as with Snowy Pines, I put the short rows underneath the yoke here, underneath the color work on the yoke. So most of the time when you see a color work yoke sweater, the short rows will be up here. So there will be a wedge of the main color before the color work begins. And I put them down underneath on this sweater and also on this one. That's going to be my default design choice from here on out, unless I can't. Unless there's patterning and color work that goes down below the sleeve split, then I can't do that. Which I'm working on a sweater right now where I have to put the short rows at the top of the yoke because there's going to be color work down below the sleeve split. So the reason this works is the short rows are there to lift the back neck. So the front of the neck is lower, so it fits you nicely. And you can do that by putting them here and it lifts the top part of the yoke. But if you put them down here, it lifts the whole back of the yoke, which works perfectly too. But if you are going to be continuing color work down here and you put the short rows here, then you'd have a big wedge right under your shoulder blades, which wouldn't look good. So anyway, the short rows are below the color work on this one, which will be my default for sweaters that have color work that stops before the sleeve separation, basically. So it looks really good. I actually took some video and pictures because when we went to take pictures of this, we went on a little hike to a place where I knew there would be absolutely stunning colors. So at the end of this episode, I'm going to put in some footage from that. I'll put in some pictures so you can see the beauty of where we went, and I'll put in some videos so that you can feel like you're going on a hike with me. If you would like to watch that, that will be at the end of the podcast. I'm not quite sure where would be a good place to put it. Maybe you'd prefer right here, right now while I'm talking about it, but I'm gonna put it at the end so you can look forward to that at the end. Anyway, here it is. I think I will change into it so you can see it on. And here it is on. You can see how it's just so simple and so lovely. It just looks so good, and it's very simple. So you can see, let me show you the back. This is very awkward. So there's my fletching. It's my first finished object of the day. The test knit, oh, I'm really bright all of a sudden. The test knit is rolling right now, it's going on. And the pattern will be released on January 23rd. So you can look forward to that in January. It'll be a nice treat for a dreary day. So there's my fletching. Now, let's move on to my next finished object. This one, isn't it pretty? It looks so pretty. I'm just admiring it on the screen of my camera for a minute. Last year, I bought some worsted weight yarn to make my sister's hats for Christmas, and I designed a colorwork motif, except generally when I design hat motifs, I get a little carried away, not remembering that I have only a little tiny section to put color work into, and so I made the motif way too big for worsted weight yarn, and I ended up cutting it off right here, like right here, above the stars. I don't think I have this. And that one is called Lumi. I released it last winter, so if you're looking for a worsted weight hat with a big snowflake, maybe for your Christmas knitting, you can go find Lumi. It is only in one size because this is a 20 stitch repeat, and 20 stitches in a worsted weight yarn is 4 inches, so it was impossible to grade. So that one's only in one size, but I decided that I was going to do it in fingering weight yarn so that 1, I could actually grade it into multiple sizes, and 2, I could put in the rest of the chart that I had to chop off when I knit it in worsted weight yarn. I'm sorry if you hear my boys yelling in the background. They're having a lot of fun without me there. So this is called Lumi Light, because Lumi's, I'm giving it the same base name basically as the other hat, but it's light because it is the lighter version of it. Where can I go without the sun? Nowhere. There, maybe you can see it there. So it has this really big snowflake motif, and then it kind of comes up to smaller snowflakes, and then you have all the snow on the crown. This is hard to show. I got 2 hands. Get it out of the sun. There we go. You can see all the snow on the crown coming in. It's in 4 sizes, or maybe 5. It's in several sizes. And I'll put it on for you. It's in several sizes. It's also currently in test knitting. I'm going to release it sometime in December. I have no idea when. I'm kind of thinking of releasing it on the winter solstice because, I don't know, it'll be kind of fun. It's not going to be done in time to release for Christmas knitting, even though it would be a perfect Christmas knitting hat pattern. I just didn't get myself organized in time to release it, in time to release it for you guys to knit for Christmas knitting, so I'm sorry about that. Next year you can do that. Here it is on. It has a little bit of room up here, and I'm going to put a pom-pom on it, and then we'll pull it down a little bit like this, which will look really cute. I have these two colors. I don't think I have enough of the gray to make a pom-pom out of, but I think there's definitely enough of the gingerbread to make a pom-pom out of. By the way, if you want to make a super fluffy pom-pom, the key is to steam it. I actually have a tutorial on how to make a pom-pom. It's in the tutorial section of this channel, so you can go find it if you want to. So I think I'll make the pom-pom this color. Yeah, I think that will look really nice. I don't have enough of this color, although I could also just mix them together and have like a sprinkle pom-pom. Maybe I'll do that. That would be super cute. So this is called Lumi Light. Sign up for my newsletter. Sign up for my newsletter. Yeah. This hat uses Quince Co Finch, which is their fingering weight yarn. The colors are Gingerbread and Iceland, which I think makes a really nice color combo. So there it is. Isn't it cute? I love it. I really love it. I wish I made a bigger size. This one fits me okay, but I like my hats to fit loose, and this one doesn't fit me loosely, so. I think I made the second largest size. I should have made the largest size. There it is. I like how hats look when you have them folded like this. Just fold it in half like this. Lumi Light. That will be coming in a month or so. That's all my finished objects. Now we'll talk about my work in progress. So this shawl progressed quite a ways, and then I ripped it out because I didn't like it. I'm trying to shift the stitches around so I can show it to you nicely. I don't think I can because it's so big now. This is knit in North Bay Fiber Heritage. Let's see, where's a tag to show you? North Bay Fiber Heritage. There you go. Too much sun. So this is a DK weight woolen spun yarn from the Polypay sheep. So this is the first time I've knit with Polypay. I've actually done a lot of research into sheep for a reason I will tell you about later, but the Polypay sheep was developed at the USDA Sheep Research Station in Dubois, Idaho, which is like an hour from me, maybe hour and a bit. So I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, so this is Polypay, which is the first time I've knit with Polypay. It's very soft. It's very, very, very soft. It's probably kind of like a rambouillet. Kind of like knitting with rambouillet, similar to that. But it's very soft. So, stuck. Yeah, see, it's just a big lumpy mess because it's so big now that it's unwieldy to show you. So let's see here. It's a top-down triangular shawl. Starts up here with a garter tab cast on. Then you work down and out. It is not a perfect triangle. It's a modified triangle. So you increase every single row along the wingspan and every other row on the center spine. Usually in a triangular shawl, you will increase every other row on the spine and the wingspan, and then on the wrong side you don't increase at all, but on this one you increase along the wingspan on the wrong side as well. And the reason for that is it makes the wingspan grow longer, or grow at a faster rate than the center spine does. So you can have a shawl that is wider and not super duper deep. Because usually when you're knitting a triangle shawl, in order to get it nice and wide, you have to keep going, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper until it's super duper deep. And I didn't want that. I also didn't want to do a crescent shaped shawl. I really like the look of a triangular shawl. So I'm doing the increases on the wrong side along the wingspan, so it gets bigger faster than the center spine gets deeper. and it will be a nice fitting shawl. It also, you can't tell anymore because it's so huge, but as you're doing that, the shape of it, like the shape here, you can kind of see how the top edge kind of comes in a very gentle V shape is what it looks like on the screen, but it kind of comes like this. It's very awkward. It goes like this. So when you put it on, it automatically curves around your shoulders, which is very, very nice because like a perfect triangle, it'll just be straight. And you'll have to just wrangle those straight lines around you. But this one kind of gently comes around how it's supposed to go anyway. And I'm sure you can hear the movie, it's very loud. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep going instead of going down to turn the volume down. So it starts with garter stitch. Most of it is garter stitch. Try to get it out of the sun. Most of it is garter stitch, but we're coming down to the bottom. This is my 4th skein, it's almost gone. This is my last skein, my 5th skein, it'll be my last skein. And so I have this much left to go. So it's mostly garter stitch, and then it's coming down to some really gentle lace. I've worked the first bit of it. Here you can see it's a really gentle lace. It's really, really easy to memorize. I think instantly memorized it, but I do have an advantage because I'm the person who created the chart, so it's very gentle. I'm trying to see if I can get it to cooperate so that I can show you. I don't know if you can tell on the screen. I can't really see, but my view is really tiny, a tiny little square. But it has a really gentle curve to it, a really, really gentle curve to it. So we're coming into this lace, and there's going to be a couple small sections, so this is just a little bit here, a couple small sections of the lace, and then we're going to come down to a big section of the lace, and then we're going to finish with a little bit of garter stitch at the bottom. And that garter stitch hem should have that gentle curve to it, which I think will be really pretty. Just to really, it's not a small dramatic one, it's just really big and really gentle scallops because this is an 18 stitch repeat, so it's going to be quite wide and gentle, and I think it'll look really pretty. Here comes Aiden, the 3-year-old. Is he going to find me or is he going to go somewhere else? So this is going to have a really gentle curve at the bottom. Originally I was planning to do a lot of stuff with this, but as I went along I just didn't like things, and then I ripped them out. So I had a big chunk of lace. It was just worked inside the garter stitch, but it looked really, the garter stitch just looked messed up. It didn't look pretty, it just looked messed up. So I ripped it all out and started over again. And here's where we're at. One more skein to go. Hello, Aiden. Hi. You need milk? Okay. I'm back again. I turned down the volume, so hopefully you don't hear the movie anymore. Another thing I did here, I really like it when the center spine has a little bit of definition. I didn't want to do yarn overs in this because it's supposed to have like a really cozy feel to it. So I slipped the center stitch, which hopefully you can see on there. So just slipped the center stitch all the way down, which gives a really, really simple line down it. Really, really simple and understated, but still gives you that definition. As I was working on this, I was thinking of like buzzwords for describing it. And I just really wanted something really quiet and peaceful and gentle. So even though I had decided like a lot of really cool stuff, there was going to be baubles and maybe some cables and all that, but at the end of the day I was like, I just want this to be gentle, just really gentle and peaceful, just something quiet and cozy. And so I stripped back a ton of stuff And we just have the lace, the gentle lace and the garter stitch, and it's just gonna be really beautiful and calm. So this one will be out in March. This rather shapeless blob. Hopefully next time I'll have it done and blocked and can show you it in all of its beautiful glory. But for right now it is just kind of this. Just kind of that. Anyway, so that is all of the knitting I have to show you. I am working on another sweater, but I'm not going to show that to you today because that would make this episode extremely long, and I'm going to try to film more frequently with shorter episodes more frequently because algorithms like to be regularly fed. YouTube's algorithm is no different, so I think that if I post a lot more regularly to my YouTube account, then my videos will end up in front of more people and I will be able to reach more people with my knitting. So I'm going to save that for next time, but I am extremely excited about it. Extremely excited about it. So you'll have to wait for next time. Subscribe to my channel so you can see it. But now I have some really exciting news. I need to go grab something first. Hang on. So, the exciting news. I'm not pregnant, by the way. I'm not pregnant. There will be no more babies because there will be something else instead. Earlier this year, we were driving around in the mountains, and you know how it is when you're married and you have a lot of small children. Your conversations, like your serious conversations, happen in the car while your children are tied in behind you and can't really pester you too much. So my husband goes, my child was yelling at me, speaking of children. My husband goes, you know what? I think we should get sheep. It's like, what on earth has my mother been talking to you? Because my mom is always like, oh, you should get sheep, you should get cows, you should get a milk cow. All these things. I was like, are you out of your mind? But he's not out of his mind. So we're going to get sheep because that'll just be really cool. Hello. You may notice that I look a little bit different now. It is the next morning after I filmed the previous part of this episode. As I was going through the sheep, the part where I was talking about the sheep and the why and all of that stuff, I got interrupted a lot by my children, and I got increasingly scattered, and I just didn't think that you guys would enjoy watching that. So here I am. It is the very next morning. The sun has just come up. There's only one child out of bed and he's happily playing downstairs, so I'm going to try this again. So, good morning, everyone. And if you're wondering, this sweater that I'm wearing is my Wild Horse cardigan. It's a pattern that I released last fall, so you could go get the pattern if you wanted to. I'm wearing it over a valley dress from Not Perfect Living. I've got wool leggings on. Very cozy today. So, sheep. This was my husband's idea, entirely my husband's idea. We were driving around one day, and as when you have children, you know, a lot of your conversations happen when you're in the car together and all of the children are strapped in the back and they can't interrupt you. So my husband was like, you know, I think we should get some sheep. I was like, what has my mother done to you? My mom is always the one who's like, oh, you should get this animal or that animal. You should have a milk cow, and so on. So I'm not going to get a milk cow because I don't want to milk a cow every day. I grew up on a dairy farm, so I know how that works. So it was, at first glance, I was like, you're insane. Why would we get sheep to keep, you know, he was talking not just sheep to have, you know, raise some bum lambs over the summer and then sell them in the fall or something like that. He was talking about an actual flock of sheep that we keep year round, and we have lambs and we have a whole sheep farm. I was like, I don't know if I like that idea because that's a lot of responsibility to have animals year round. But he was thinking of our children and how valuable it would be for them to grow up with some farm life experiences. Both my husband and I grew up on farms, And we really treasure that part of our life and the childhood that we had, and how meaningful it was to grow up like that. I mean, there was a lot of hard work for both of us. I mean, work from a young age, which is also very valuable, we think, as it teaches you how to work, it teaches you responsibility, and it teaches you, the satisfaction of a job well done. And that's all important things to learn, and it's good to learn that while you're still very young and a kid. So we decided to get sheep. This is mainly for the sake of our kids, but honestly, Jim and I are both really, really excited about it too. It's going to be a lot of fun to have sheep. So once we decided that yes, we should get sheep, it would be really good. It would be a lot of fun, and it would be really good for our kids, and we think it would be a good decision to get sheep. So we decided to get sheep. We have land here. We live on about 40 acres. 3 acres of it is in pasture, so we already have somewhere for them to live, except we don't have a barn, and we need to have a barn. This is not a place where you can have sheep without a barn. I don't think most places are places where you can have sheep without a barn. But anyway, we need to have a barn, so we'll have to build a barn next summer, but we decided to get sheep. Very exciting. So after we made the decision to get sheep, next is the decision to which sheep to get, like which breed of sheep. And obviously I'm going to go for a fiber breed of sheep, right? Obviously. So I started looking through all of the fiber breeds, like should I get Merino, should I get Rambouillet, should I get Tarki, and I'm just researching all of the breeds. What I wanted is something that's kind of small, because our children are going to be working in this with us, so I don't want, a sheep that's the size of a Shetland pony, which my sisters have sheep, and one of their sheep is literally the size of a Shetland pony. So I want sheep that are kind of small. I want them to be really, really docile and friendly and really calm, no aggression in the rams, preferably no horns, like naturally pulled sheep. Like the horns on like an Icelandic sheep are really cute, they look good. But if they decide to butt you, that hurts really hard. It's really, really painful. So it's like, since I'm having children in the sheep barn all of the time, I thought it would be better if they're naturally polled and they're small and they're really calm and friendly and docile. And that was what I looked for. And also a good fiber sheep, obviously. So that was what I was looking for as I was researching the sheep breeds. And for most of the large fiber breeds, like a Rambouillet or a Tarki or a Polypay, like I'm using in this shawl. Oh, this one uses Rambouillet. This sweater uses Rambouillet. All of these breeds of sheep that are really common in the Western United States, they are created breeds that were developed at the USDA Sheep Research Station in DuBois, which is hour and a little bit from where I live. It's not too far from where I live. So honestly, all of those breeds would be perfect for me here, for the environment that I live in, for our winters, our cold. However, all of those sheep are quite large. They are quite large. I don't want a large sheep, and they're not, I mean, if you had one from a lamb and you kept it, like made it into a pet, I'm sure that would be friendly. But they're mostly used for large sheep ranches, which they go out on the range, and in huge flocks they'll go out on the range and graze. So they're more commercial. That kind of sounds like a bad word when I say it like that, but they're mostly for a large flock of sheep out in the mountains grazing all summer long with a sheep herder. And I didn't think they would be really suitable for us here on our really small little farm with children, because they are quite large sheep. So I was looking into like a Shetland sheep. The trouble with Shetland sheep is they can be a little bit feral apparently, which is great if you are a Shetland sheep living in Shetland and you have to survive basically on your own out in the hills next to the ocean. And the same with Icelandic sheep, because Shetland sheep and Icelandic sheep are just turned loose and they just take care of themselves. So they're a little bit flighty and they're a little bit wild, and I wanted something that was a lot friendlier than that. The problem with those two again is both of them have horns. Do Shetland sheep have horns? Pretty sure they do. Maybe they don't. Icelandic sheep definitely have horns. And then I came across the Finnish sheep. It is, so the Icelandic sheep and the Shetland sheep are both from the northern short-tailed sheep group. And Finnish sheep is also a northern short-tailed sheep, this time from Finland instead of Scotland or Iceland. And I came across them, and they are quite small. They are known to be docile. Even the rams are really calm and friendly, and they're not going to go around butting you in the pasture, and they're not going to, you know, butt a small child as they're walking through the barn. They are quite friendly, they're quite docile, they are smaller, and I thought, oh, maybe the Finnish sheep would be perfect for what we need, because on paper it looked fantastic. But I was like, I wonder what the fiber is like, because that is a very important decision. So I ordered a skein. Grab this. I ordered a skein of Finnish sheep yarn. Here it is. This is the natural gray color. It's not dyed at all. This is from Yankee Rock Farm. I found Yankee Rock Farm online as I was looking up Finnish sheep, and I was like, I followed this lady on Instagram. And I hadn't put it together until that point, so this is Yankee Rock Farm. It's run by Siri. I don't know her last name. Siri. So she has Finnish sheep and border Leicesters that she raises for wool and also meat, I think. But she has a small farm. She also has a shearing business, a sheep shearing business. But she had some Finnish sheep yarn in her shop, and so I ordered a skein of it. Here in the natural gray, you can see, if I hold it up, you can see quite nicely. Here it is a little closer. I don't know if it's going to focus on the yarn. My camera is notoriously bad at maintaining a good focus. I was stunned when this came and I opened it up. I was expecting something rather crunchy and rustic, because if you pull out a skein of Shetland yarn, often it can be quite soft, but usually it's a bit rustic. And Icelandic wool is extremely rustic. I'm not quite to being able to make a sweater from Lopi yet, so I was expecting something kind of along those lines where it was really crunchy, it was really rustic and hairy, and just something you would knit outerwear out of. That's what I was expecting. And I was absolutely stunned, because this is not at all rustic and crunchy and like harsh and scratchy. This is actually very, very soft. It is very, very silky. I'll press it to my neck and feel a little tiny bit of prickle. My neck is extremely sensitive, but if I press it anywhere else, like just here to my chest, it's just soft. It's just absolutely soft, and it's really very silky. And it has, Finnish sheep apparently are known for their luster. Their fiber is a little bit shiny, a little bit silky looking, and naturally so. So this is actually an extremely luxurious yarn. I'm taking it apart so you can see it. Look at how beautiful this is. Look at this. It's stunning. It's beautiful. I really want to just knit with Finnish sheep yarn. So, I mean, when this skein of yarn came, I was all like, yeah, absolutely. We're just gonna get Finnish sheep. I'm going to wind it back into a hank here. It's a bit messy. I will tell you that it is very messy, because my boys took the skein apart and were throwing it around and having a really great time playing with it. So it looks kind of messy, but it's going to be really hard when I go to wind it into a ball. But it's beautiful. It's stunning. It's amazing. It's just really amazing. If you want to knit with Finnish sheep yarn, you can go to Yankee Rock Farm's website. Here's her little card that she sent along. This one is a border Leicester. This one is a Finnish sheep lamb here. White is the dominant color. There's mostly white, but they can also be spotty. And they also have different color patterns. Here's a Finch sheep mama licking her babies. You can see that they're spotted. I'm gonna put it closer. Can you see? I don't know if it focused or not. So they have different colors and they have different patterns. They can be spotted and they can be badger face and piebald and brown and black and gray, and white is the most common color, but they can also be various colors. So I decided I was gonna get Finch sheep. Very exciting. They're gonna be so cute. So we've decided to get Finch sheep, and then after that it was the question of finding a place from which to buy Finch sheep lambs, since we're going to be breeding them and growing our flock, and then also we will sell yarn from our Finch sheep. So you can look forward to that in a couple years. And we'll also sell breeding stock. At first, when we're building our flock, we're going to keep all of the ewe lambs, so we'll just have ram lambs to sell. But then after we have our foundation flock and however many sheep we want to keep it at, then we'll sell basically all the babies just as breeding stock. Finch sheep is quite rare in the United States, currently quite rare in the United States. So it's kind of hard to find a breeder, and most of them are back east, which I am in Idaho, which is in the west. So it's a long ways away that most Finch sheep breeders are. But I did find a place called Cedar View Farm, and she has enough Finch sheep. First of all, as I was looking more into Finch sheep, I realized that you can go two ways with Finch sheep. You can breed for fiber and focus on the fiber, or you can breed for meat and focus on the meat. So I don't want meat sheep because often their fleeces they just completely ignore them. They are not very fine fleeces. I want to get my sheep from somebody who's been focusing on breeding for fiber and really fine fleeces. And so I found a place in Virginia called Cedar View Farm. She breeds for a nice fleece. She focuses on the quality of the fleece, and you can buy, she has spinning fiber in her shop right now, but she doesn't have any yarn in her shop. So if you're a spinner, you can go check out her shop and you might find something you like. Anyway, I found her, and she breeds for fiber, and she has enough sheep that she can give you a whole starter flock. She has enough lambs every single year that she can sell you a starter flock of unrelated ewe and ram lambs, so that you have your whole flock, just all of them, and I wouldn't have to, find, two ewes over here and another ram over here and kind of parcel our flock together from a bunch of different farms. It's really easy just to be like, I want to have a starter flock, and she can put it together for me. So I've put down a deposit for 6 ewe lambs and 2 ram lambs that are going to be born this coming March, and we'll get them in the summer, probably sometime in June. Not really sure exactly when. It will depend on when they're born and when they get weaned. And so yeah, we're gonna have sheep in 8 months. It'll be about 8 months before they come, so it's a little while yet, but we're going to become sheep farmers now. Yeah, this is probably pretty it's probably pretty predictable for me to just get sheep. But anyway, so we are going to have sheep, and it's very exciting, very exciting. So it's still early, so I'm not, it's not early, but it's still morning before the day has really started, so I'm not super energetic right now. But Finch sheep come in all different colors, and I have decided that I would like to create a gray yarn. So when I get my first 8 sheep, I'm going to select 4 white, gray, and black shades of fleece, so that I can just dump all their fleeces together in one batch and just make one batch of a certain gray shade. And it's probably going to change every single year because I'll have different sheep as we're getting more ewes into our flock and we're building our flock. So I'm very excited to be getting sheep. It's going to be really meaningful for our children. It's going to be really great for them to have the responsibility of taking care of animals. It's going to be a lot of fun to do lambing season. Another thing with Finch sheep is they're known for having a ton of babies. They have litters of lambs, like triplets and quadruplets are perfectly normal for them. The record is 9. A Finch sheep had 9 babies. It's like crazy, that poor mama. But they are known for their large litters of lambs. That's a huge thing for their breed. They have actually been used in the development of other breeds like the Tarkey and Polypay and all of that to increase the lambing rate, because they are so prolific that they were used, the Finch sheep genetics were used to increase the lambing rate in the new breeds that they were developing. So we're going to have lots of lambs, but they are also very maternal. They're very good mothers. They're very milky, so they should produce, as long as I feed them well enough, they'll produce enough milk that they can support triplets and quadruplets. The lambs are very vigorous. They're very easy to care for. Just another thing I really wanted was sheep that will kind of just handle themselves. I won't have to be, out in the barn at 3 o'clock every single morning pulling lambs out of their mamas and feeding them bottles. They should be able to take care of themselves pretty well. So yeah, I'm very excited. The children have mixed reactions. Some are really excited. One of them said they'd rather have a puppy. So I think they'll come around. Anyway, so that's my exciting news for the day, and I've talked about it for about 20 minutes now, so I think that I will stop and let you go back to your life. Enjoy the next section, which is video from when we took pictures of my fletching. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you are in the United States and celebrating Thanksgiving. And I will talk to you all later. Bye.